didn't seem to matter what the weather was like. We'd get out, you know, in horrible mud, but it could also be really sunny, and the bikes would just basically take whatever we were doing that day, even if we were just hiking up stairs or something. So I was in love with the sport before I even raced, and then once I got to the races, it was just, you know, more of that stuff with some racing and competitiveness, you know, thrown in. So I think cross is just such a cool, you know, expression of skill and intensity, but also that like fun-loving sort of, you know, good food, you know, in the fall. So I'm Peter Glassford. I'm an athlete for the Trek Canada mountain bike race team and a professional cycling coach. Over the last 10 years, I've coached many cyclocross racers, and today I wanted to share 5 quick tips that'll make your season more successful. My first tip to get you ready for cyclocross season is to get the appropriate clothing. The right clothing will make the rainy and cold conditions during cyclocross season much more enjoyable. Here are a few things that I keep in my gear bag. A bunch of different gloves for different conditions, different temperatures, and a lot of times we'll keep our race gloves in our back pocket while we warm up in a little warmer pair. That way we're warm, and the pair in our back pocket is really warm once we get to the race start. The next piece I always have with me is a nice, warm, water-resistant pair of tights. This lets me get out and pre-ride, wait for the start, and stay warm and dry so that I'm ready to go for the race. The other piece I always have with me is a nice, warm jacket. Not for racing in, but for standing around the venue, warming up, and checking out the course. Moving on from clothing, my second tip is to invest in some tires. The right tire can make the difference between a great race and a bad race. This is what I recommend for my athletes when it comes to tires. To get started, we'll have a dry conditions tire that has less knobs and is going to let us go way faster when the conditions are nice. For those muddier days, we'll get something with some nice knobs, nice wide spacing that's going to shed the mud and let us keep cornering really well throughout the race. Now that we have your bike set up, it's time to talk about the racing. Cyclocross is very intense, so it's important to tailor your training to be ready for that intensity. To get my athletes ready for the intensity of cyclocross, I make sure that we're including lots of dismounting and running in our intervals. Here's an interval that I do with my athletes. We find a field where we can run for 30 seconds, take a break for 30 seconds, ride for 30 seconds, take a break for 30 seconds, and sometimes we'll repeat that for 5-10 times. In addition to specific physical training for cyclocross, we need to be spending time working on our cyclocross specific skills. For my athletes, I make sure that we're spending a lot of time working on our dismount, getting off the bike, carrying our bike so we can get over the barriers and up the hills, and then of course getting back on our bike smoothly and efficiently so that we can maintain our speed throughout the course. Lastly, don't take your first cyclocross race too seriously. Enjoy the atmosphere and use it as a learning experience. Like any new skill, it will take a while to master. I encourage my athletes to get out weekly with a local group, have some fun, and ask lots of questions. Soon enough, you'll be out there racing at the front. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me through smartathlete.ca. For Canadian Cycling Magazine, I'm Peter Glassford.